What is purpose, guys?
Purpose, in the New Oxford Dictionary. Okay, let me Google it.
And no, like you said.
Like, what do you define purpose as?
A purpose is, I guess, I'm avoiding using the word purpose to describe purpose. It's like being in your place, like what's your designation more like? Your functionality more like? Yeah, basically that's what I understand by purpose.
Okay.
How do you find it?
I feel, in my opinion, you don't look for it, it finds you.
Oh. So it's easy.
I think you look for it. I mean, okay, I think you also do look for it because, like we're saying, there are some people who know, like the Michael Jacksons, they knew because they could dance at an early age, they could sing at an early age. They knew that their purpose was to entertain people through music, you know what I mean? And then there's some who have to find. So you find that this year you want to be a chef, next year they are a teacher, next year they're this. It's because they're looking for their purpose. It's like, I have all these gifts and talents and I'm good at this, I'm good at that. But what is that one thing that I'm meant to do?
To answer your question, or just to respond to what you're saying, I'll take you back to one thing that Moto once said, and it stuck with me. He says, there's so much noise going on, we never listen to ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's probably there in their face, but they don't take time to listen. You know, like take a beat.
To silence their mind.
To silence their minds.
We remember, the North remembers.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
So you need like
Time.
even we were talking about this some other time again with Mr. Chisha, like people don't know how to spend time with themselves. You always want put it on style, what's for Friday? What's for Friday? Yeah, weekend that one.
Yeah.
Stay home.
Relax.
I don't know, read a book.
Yeah.
Just you kind of feel with
So
yourself.
basically what you're saying is, in order for you to find your purpose, you must get to know yourself first.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So
Fantastic.
take time to know who
Fantastic.
Keturah is, who Dennis is, who Abby is, who Moto is, who Benes is, and then you'll be like, okay, so I don't like this, but I like this. And the more you spend time with you, is when you know what you should gravitate towards and what you don't want in your life anymore. Yeah? Because I think, and adding on to what you're saying is, even with a lot of things that have to do with self-forgiveness, self-love, self-care, you would rather take care of other people than take care of yourself. You'd rather forgive someone easily than to forgive yourself. So I think adding on to that is, it's difficult, yes, to take that time out, but it should be priority number one. You should put yourself first. Yeah, we've got family, we've got friends, but you should take time to put yourself first. Right? So those of us who are struggling, you're like, okay, I'm 29, I'm 40, whatever. I still don't know what my purpose is.
What is your purpose?
Me myself.
To my part. Wait, to my part.
Let me do my part in my personal capacity. Not that I'm saying I'm Michael Jackson, no. But from a very young age, I always enjoyed entertaining people. So going into the kitchen, getting the cooking stick and be like, welcome to the Keturah Mtonga show, and talking, because I talked a lot, right? I still talk a lot. But I felt like my purpose really was to entertain people, right? Either via radio or TV. And then there was a point where I didn't feel like that. Until the 11th grade, I was certain I wanted to be a neurologist. I was ready to be Dr. Keturah Victoria Mtonga.
Who are you dating? This only has
No,
who
I
are you
wasn't
dating?
dating anybody. I wasn't. It was just the thing because I love taking care of people when you're sick. So I was like, you know what? I can do this. And then I went to watch a very life-changing play. Like I'd never gone to watch a play. I watched, I was like, wow. Like I was so in love with what they were doing on stage that I was like, I could do that, or I could be part of the behind the scenes team. I could be a producer. I could be in this world. You know what I mean? And not that And that's how the love for being a doctor just went. My family was like, no, but you said I said I'm saving you a lot more money. Don't worry.
7 years.
Yeah, 7 years, right? And for me, it was like, this is what I want to do. I want to entertain people in this way, right? So I feel, to a certain extent, I am heading in the right direction, but I still feel the need to do more and to be more, because where I am right now is not the end goal for me, right? There are places I want to be, things that I've dreamt of, I've written in my journal about. So I'm on the right path, but I'm determined. I'm still hungry. I'm not like, I'm here. I'm doing radio and TV, and now I'm a podcaster. I'm here. I'm in the right direction. That much I know. So I would say maybe, not even maybe, I'm in the right direction into living, within my purpose.
Benes, what's your purpose?
What is my purpose? Well, I don't want to sound too metaphysical or too spiritual when it comes to purpose, but it seems purpose is related to something in those lines. It depends on how you discover it. It could come as a vision or something that was a passion and then turns into something you believe can influence people or inspire people, and you can change the world with your purpose. So I believe my purpose is just to give others hope, entertain people, perhaps, and
I feel like
help change people's mentality. Yeah.
put a lot of pressure on changing the world. Changing the world it's one person at a time. No. We put it like it's a lot.
Yeah.
And I think having that picture, you sort of how will I manage and but I feel it's just reach one person.
Oh my. That's chicken place that you love to do.
No, because the thing is,
You never know.
I don't know if I don't know if you guys have seen The Matrix, especially the first one, or if you remember the storyline. Like, it centers around Neo and him finding his purpose and becoming the one. So for me, that's my perception of what purpose is. So I feel I'm supposed to fill in these big shoes and make a difference, Like, I'm someone who has contemplated suicide before or thought of, okay, I'm sick, let me just die, whatever, you know what I mean? But then I always remember, or I always think to say, how would people remember me as, you know what I mean? Or would I be some guy who's just forgotten after 2-3 days, and then when, I don't know, Kiddy slicks a nude or something, I'm forgotten. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
So my impact I feel it has to be something that's
Meaningful.
timeless and meaningful. Yeah. Better English. Yeah.
I think we all feel like that, like leaving a mark. Well, not all of us. Yeah, Moto has raised
If it's leaving a mark,
raise his eyebrow like,
guys, if it's leaving a mark, you've already done that. You've got a child. So leaving your mark. Hello, sir. Do you know your purpose?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so for me, it's quite an interesting story, right? I'm one person who's very, you see why you should be in a relationship with me. I'm spontaneous. Follow me for more tips at DennisRed93. So, well, basically, I've been sort of the type that refuses to settle. I believe I call myself like I'm a traveler. There's so many things that I want to try. Kweku the travel. Of course I shan. Yeah. So I do not own the rights to that song. So yeah. Basically when I was in high school, junior high, even from the time that senior primary.
In London.
When I, in my head, we were in London, but
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to be a cartoonist, right? And yeah, explains. Yeah, so I wanted to be a cartoonist. So it's something that was so pressed upon my heart. But as I started growing older, I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be all these things, and so I finally settled. Like, look, I'm a person who sort of metamorphosizes. What's the right word? So I love to give myself, like, okay, in this period, tukarali matut. From here will be a graphic designer. From here to be so it's very weird for me that I am comfortable enough to sort of give myself certain things and just say, I will try to live my life as any of these things and I will be fulfilled. So I sort of, because right now I'm a creative director somewhere, so I also do music on the side. So there's stuff like that. It's music on the side. Oh. You're not sharing my songs. Would it be on the side if you're sharing my songs? You see, you're on that blog. So yeah. So yeah. So basically, I believe my purpose really on this life is just to go around in stuff that I'm good at, build relationships, connect with people in these certain areas, and move on to the next thing. So yeah.
A guy that sells sunglasses on the streets doesn't care whether you're wearing sunglasses or not. He will still want to sell you sunglasses. Yeah. That's just making mention of you trying to castigate Abby to share your music.
Shots! Oh my God! Oh! Time out!
It speaks back to purpose. Mm-hmm. That you'd have to be very careful with defining purpose and saying that as human beings we have a purpose. Mm-hmm. Because firstly, we've got to know the biggest thing that is out there that is awarding us purpose. If you've got a collection of ants, Pabondi, the purpose of an individual ant will be to build that mound behind Teofit or that kahil. That becomes the purpose of an individual ant, because the goal is to build an anthill. But maybe there's one or two ants there that don't want to build anthills. They want to make dams. You know what I mean? But collectively as ants, we build anthills. Collectively we build anthills. And so individual ants in that colony will describe their purpose in relation to building anthills. That is the limitation that you have to be very careful with. That our subscription to what we think is our purpose is based on what we've been exposed to, not what we have essentially willingly exposed ourselves to. Yeah. That's why when you come of age and you grow up, that's when you must actively begin, I don't want to use the word purpose, but actively begin to look for your purpose, calling, yes. That this is essentially what I want to do, because there is some level of passion that I have towards this. Because you see, all of us, what we want to do is to be achievers. At whatever you're doing, you must achieve. If you're a graphics designer, you must achieve at being a graphics artist. That I have made, this is my work, I've done this, it's featured here, what. There is a sense of achievement. Then you feel that your purpose is actually being fulfilled.
True.
But it's difficult for most of us to talk about purpose simply because we have found ourselves in spaces, sometimes we think accidentally. Because we were oriented towards, that. Where you see someone is a doctor, but that was not their intention to become a doctor. And so when they grow up, they realize that I want to be in business. You know, I want to be in business. So Ambo Clash Chama Kittens and what that's what I want to do, you know, not this. So yeah, after 7 years, so you kind of diversify.
Sorry, to cut your story short. I just want to say something useless. Okay, no, there's a guy who studied medicine because he can't find a job. He's working in a butchery.
You see?
But you know what is the correct conversation here is really just around self-discovery. From what you were talking about, that if you want to find purpose, or your calling, or what you think you're meant to do, that is according to the skills that you have naturally, is something that you find through self-introspection.
True.
You have to investigate further. Like Keturah said, it's easy to forgive someone than forgive yourself. Maybe start practicing forgiving yourself. Because everything else that you want to know about other people, you first of all know about yourself. Because I am not so very different from you. Your basic needs are my basic needs. So there can't be that
purpose in Phoenix.
You thought you could drink alcohol without
Ninja,
I'll play the party with
God is piling, guys.
We're talking about purpose, okay? Finding or knowing what your purpose
You can talk in someone's boobs, no problem. You can talk in someone's boobs, no problem. Yeah. So just choose your boobs. Yes, choose your boobs.
Purpose.
Yeah, we're talking about purpose, my
about
friend.
purpose.
But you
So
know,
wait, I was
but
asking
you know,
everyone,
Yeah.
what is your purpose?
My purpose is enlightenment.
Agree.
Yeah. My purpose is enlightenment. I feel like I have a duty to myself to learn as much as I can learn. And when I have interactions with people, they're supposed to have some profit out of that. I hate wasted time. And therefore, it's just sharing those discoveries about life, because I have this trouble with life. To find the expert at life. To find the expert at life would be that one person who's lived life before. You know what I mean, eh? But we all stumble into life as new beings, and we have absolutely no idea what this is. And we're just constantly discovering on the ways to be. But we are only assisted by people that have lived before us. And that's why the future is somewhat always better. Because you are going through experiences which are lessons. And those lessons are picked up by other people. Like, for example, the older generation might find it difficult to understand the fact that today you don't need to retire to be able to buy a vehicle. You know what I mean? Eh? So you can enter into employment today, and tomorrow you are driving. And your father or your grandfather can come at you and say, but why have you bought a motor vehicle? Well, these things have no, because they're thinking that it's a lot of money and it's extremely difficult to acquire. But what they're forgetting is that you already fixed it in your lifetime. That's the reason why I am able to buy a vehicle at 25. So that's the only lesson that we kind of get from life. But otherwise, everything else is new, over the fact that nobody has ever experienced life before. We are all experiencing it for the first time. And so it's a little bit confusing to wrap your head around what is the best way to be, and even find a purpose at that. Because you might look at someone and you think they've, figured it out. They haven't figured it out. They're still working through the machinations of, life itself. So we are all on that journey. But what you can do for yourself is to actively put yourself in that space where you are on a road to discover not your neighbor, but yourself.
Yeah.
If your neighbor is good at accounting, forget it. Be good at something else. If your neighbor buys a Fortuner today, forget it. Buy something else. Because it's really just about you. At the end of the day, when you die, that will be the end of everything else. Yeah. You know what I mean? Everybody will cease to exist. So if you can't really control your world for yourself, then you are leaving it in the hands of others. So in establishing purpose, it's establishing control over your world. And know that you are in charge of your destiny. Not about Abby sharing force her to share it. Figure out a way to share your music. That's the way it kind of goes. It is all within your control. If you leave things in the hands of others, you will blame those others for those things, not knowing that you have an element of control to a certain degree. So purpose is basically found in your own space, and I would say it's enlightenment.
I feel.
What is your purpose, Jess?
Yeah, go. No, I was just about to add something to what he said that I picked up. It's easy to hate yourself while trying to discover yourself, because if you use other people as a yardstick in trying to discover yourself, you're doing yourself a disservice, because it's self-discovery, not other people discovery. So I think, Jijue, shout out Mike 44. So it's easy to just drift away from the goal, which is to discover yourself. For social media, he makes a party for his car. The guy has a birthday party for. Shout out to him, by the way, that was dope. So it's easy to sort of lose track if you're not patient with yourself. So it's important, even in this journey, something that I have learned, to just be patient. Just say atawe bali afyabo naona what if you.
Do you think it's possible that your purpose can be multi-dimensional, in that your purpose can be more than one thing? I'm saying that because every time I've brought purpose into perspective, like when it comes to myself, right? I've always said the thing I was telling you last week, the 10-year plan, right? So I'm like, it's possible that you can live out so many different purposes over so many different. Yes, let's say I think we think of life as just like this one linear, right? So it's just this one thing. If you think of yourself as someone who's multi-talented, it's not like the talents have to necessarily run side by side. Oh, think about a business come and back, but at the same time, I can play karaoke for you. Like, you know what I mean, right? Like, my band thing. You get where I'm coming from, right? Yeah. Do you think it's possible that purpose, like even in your case, can be multidimensional?
Yeah, well, in my case, personally, I like to practice different disciplines.
Yes, without looking like a Jim Wino plan.
And I always say that I will not take up something unless I know I'm going to do my best at it. I'm not going to take up something if I know I'm going to suck at it. If I can't do it today, then maybe I will do it tomorrow once I have perfected, how to do it. But the point is that you get to discover a lot about yourself when you practice many other things. All right, I have a 9-to-5 job, but that's not it all. Everything else that I do, I consider it a job. I have the superstars over the weekend. You know what I mean? That's doing something, because at the very same time you're networking with different kinds of people. You're learning a skill from that specific area, and you'll be surprised that when you put all of these things together, they inform one individual, but one individual that should be great, because we are all multi-talented. You know, it's not just one thing. You know, if you're an accountant, you're not just an accountant. Try and find something else that you can also do, because life cannot really be that linear. Imagine, Magamba, you only have one life and you choose to experience it as a doctor alone.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Your view, your view of life is that of just being a musician. You know, you can also view it as, you know, somebody else. You have that, you know, capacity
A
to.
bit of an antagonist
Yeah.
question, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that is it entirely wrong for someone to want to just aspire for one particular thing and go? And I know this is like the flip side of what I brought up earlier. But just think of it. Is it entirely wrong? Umuntu ngarefuata, okay, you need to have his whole life, right?
It's not an issue.
Or is it that this person has not been exposed to the fact that they can actually do more? Because sometimes think of it. There's certain people
It also has to do with, you know, time.
exposure.
It also has to do with time. Some people are really streamlined focused. That the one thing that they do keeps them busy all the time, and that is essentially a possibility in most areas. If, say, maybe you are running a business, you are an entrepreneur, I think your focus will solely be running that business until you decide to begin diversification once the business has graduated. If you look at Elon Musk, for example, or Bill Gates, these are not people that are just running one company. They're running other hundreds of, you know, companies. They've got shares and investments in, you know, small startups, big, you know, entities. You'd be surprised. And they have presence in all of these different areas. So they're not focused only on doing one thing, but they're doing multiple, you know, things. And they have found the talent in doing those multiple things. You know, but yeah, it's okay for you to, you know, just do that one thing. But when you do choose to do that one thing, make sure you're really good at it.
So now I have a question, guys. What we're asking what our purpose is, but the whole conversation we're having is just going to career and all of that. So we should purpose your tied in a career or
Actually, about
because
Can I say something? Can I give it?
I was about to ask
Can I
you,
give an
because we're bringing out the issue of talents, right?
Yeah. Can I give an example, right?
no,
On what you're
let
saying?
me
No, I
finish.
should not give my example.
Wait. So I asked everyone what's your purpose? What's your purpose? And I have struggled to find mine. But like I said in the beginning, to say sometimes you don't go looking for it, it like just stays you right in the face. And for me, one thing has stood out my whole life. I've been able to connect people or just be that person who people, when they're connected to me, you know what I mean?
She's the reason I actually got into copywriting. Yes. She was my connect.
I've been the plan.
So it's
I think I'm about
That's why if I send you this number, how much are you?
If I send you this contact,
That's how my fee is.
so I'm that one person who I'll make sure I find a way.
Yeah.
Someone would call me, boy, now but I say, oh, let me go back. They can't keep shame to no, but you're the one they go to for this particular thing. Sometimes it will look like you're being bothered, but it's super, it gets too much. That's maybe when you don't understand what your purpose is, you know. But when you do it joyfully. Actually, listen, so here's the thing, you know, I don't know, but that's.
So do you feel that's your purpose?
I feel that's my purpose.
You
Bringing
are a
people together.
Connector.
Connected.
Because
But
you
should we
connected all of us here.
really call it a purpose?
A calling.
Because, you know, someone is calling you at the very same time. I'm stuck.
Okay, none of my talks for dictionary. Come on, definition.
Definition of purpose.
Purpose.
We know exactly what it
No, it
means.
started with us just, you know, throwing it around, and then it.
But purpose-
The things
I guess
that came
maybe
out
the
was-
better question would be,
Self-discovery.
what do you want to do?
the Oxford version will
You know?
give you like a very technical definition.
Purpose sounds like someone is giving it to
Well,
you. Someone,
right now we
someone
are-
has designed purposes,
Yes.
and there's a purpose giver.
So
Very technical explanations
Eh.
are the reason for which something is done or created or for which something exists. So number go the multi-dimensional.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And that's my
A person's sense of resolve or determination.
What?
I like that. Wait.
a person's
A
sense
person's
of resolve.
or determination.
Ah,
There's a
okay,
new
yeah.
sense of purpose in her
I like
step
that one.
as
Yeah.
she sets off.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
I think it's important to define.
Okay, that part-
what
that part
purpose
makes
is
sense.
To you as an individual.
Person's sense of
Because,
resolve.
Yeah,
like I
yes,
said,
yes,
for me,
yes.
I've come to discover that it's so multidimensional and so multifaceted that I can't. It's just not possible that I was created. I think the religious definition is what has messed us up a bit because it makes it seem like there's this one thing just
That you are FFB.
you are waking up every day and existing to fulfill. Now the thing is, if it's one thing that you are existing to fulfill, let's say you figure it out and you fulfill it by the age of 30.
Powerful.
Game over.
Why?
You know what I mean, right? And that's why I'm saying it makes more sense if it, for me, it's multifaceted and there are many things, you know what I mean, that you can consider as purpose. So I know copywriting, for example, I do copy. I also do music. These are things that when they reach their end, I'm still going to have other things that I'm able to do and still be able to wake up and say, yes, I'm happy that I'm waking up to do this particular thing during this particular time. Maishwaka, if my career as a nude model by the time I'm 50,
By the way, that's serious. That's a serious
don't
ambition.
discriminate.
It's a nude model.
Hey,
Oh my god.
but that's my point. You know, by the time I'm 50, I don't want to be doing what I'm doing now. It doesn't even sound exciting to still be doing the same thing because I know the sort of
How
person
do
that-
porn artists manage cash?
Johnny Sins.
But don't those people have like very
You
short
see, even
careers?
him, he's multifaceted.
Latino,
What's this guy?
black,
This black guy, what's his name?
He's the plumber, he's the captain.
You know
Caramba.
And I'm not saying that I want him, but I
It's been taking for a long time.
So something that Jesse said sort of took me back to what our producer was asking us before we got on set about childhood traumas and something you may have experienced in your past, and then now you're like, okay, because I went through that, this is now what I want to do so that anybody who went through what I went through, I can help them in whatever. Recently, I was watching the Marilyn Monroe movie Blonde, and that woman was a very troubled woman with all her talent as a beautiful actress. I mean, men were literally throwing themselves at her, right?
Men always throw themselves at women.
But I mean, in Marilyn's case, right?
Hey,
Marilyn's
Michelle,
case,
you like comedy?
there was just something about her that even a
Yeah.
president, you know,
one
and his brother went there. You know what I mean? But in one of her interviews, she said that in as much as her whole life she wanted to be an actress, and she knew she wanted to be an actress, she wanted to make films, the thing she wanted the most was to be a mother. And she wanted to be a good mother. And for her, if she had to choose between being a wife and a mother and making films, she would have chosen being a wife and a mother. And
Did
for
she
her,
end up having kids?
no, she had miscarriages. So
Excuse Marilyn, sorry.
so for her, all she wanted, because she didn't have a mother. Well, she had a mother, but her mother, because of her relationship with Marilyn's father and whatever, wasn't a good mother to her. But for her, she said, all I want and how I know I would have done something good on this earth and achieved what I came to do is be a good mother to my children.
We just want things we don't have.
No. But that brings us back to the question
Sometimes
of purpose and career and
Yeah.
whatever. So sometimes your purpose might not be in line with career. It might be maybe you grew up an orphan, but you want to give a home to children who also went through that. You went through foster care, or you went from relative to relative, and you wouldn't want to see other children going through that. So I think maybe when we talk about purpose, we shouldn't
Wouldn't
just
that also be work?
Would that also be?
work. I mean,
Career no way.
not in the
That's
sense-
not
no, I mean, when I say career, it's
Thin
me.
line, ladies.
he
It's
said
me. I
work.
want to be a
He
media
said
mogul,
work.
right? That's career, that's work. But for somebody who comes to say, like he was saying, he wants to give hope to other people. That's not.
Wouldn't that be work?
No, I think
Be a
that's.
pastor and
I think
give hope
that's
to
passion. I think that's.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
You can give hope by
I
entertainment.
think there's
Yeah.
a difference, like you've said,
Yeah.
when it comes to
Yes.
career, right? You are looking at exchange of service,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Giving hope is not necessarily exchange of service because usually if you say something like giving hope, it's like it's not about what I'm getting out of it. It's more about what I'm able to give.
Give.
right?
You always
And
get
what you-
something out of whatever you give.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yes,
you
you're
always
happy
do.
because
Yeah.
people have benefited.
I'm not just gonna
as
give you a
money
drink
or
here
anything.
for nothing.
Should I check back?
You know, I'm gonna feel good the fact that you're drinking my drink.
Okay.
You know, that's something that I'm getting back.
When we say career,
You know,
right? Career, business-wise, whatnot, right? All these things are usually linked with monetary gain. There's no point in starting a business or pursuing a career. Who's pursuing a career and my God, it's just the smiles of the children. I haven't seen it yet. Like your career is just giving hope and getting smiles. That's not like
There's a difference.
That's what
I think the world is so corny, eh?
but hugs of these three children and like no, like
At the end of the day.
at the end of the day,
Yeah.
unless you're saying, let's say, because okay, I've even seen like orphanages that are being run, and there was just like a kind of devious. There's just someone devious running.
Like this is strange.
You know what I mean, right? Yeah. And because of that, that person, them, they were probably supposed to be pursuing something business-wise, but Mamuna Kapunda. So they're like, let me.
Apape.
Yeah, I can make it come as something out of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? And then the people who they are trying to run it with, who have like genuine, just like, what happens not, you know what I mean, right? And so that's two different people. This person who is trying to see a career of sorts, you know what I mean? And then this person who is interested in actually giving hope. And so like she was saying, why can't we tie purpose to that also? Like if it's just giving hope and your reward is the beautiful smile of the children in Africa. You know what I mean, right?
For 99 cents.
For 99
You can feel this cup.
So what you're talking about is life fulfillment and career.
Yes.
Okay, life fulfillment, which is
life huko. But
yes,
Heavy.
so that you know what you're trying to fulfill
Yeah.
yourself with. You're trying to fulfill yourself with life.
Okay.
Living life, that to the fullest. There is trying to find that sense of fulfillment, you know, in your life, as you have become a millionaire or a billionaire, and you start philanthropy.
Yes.
You know, giving back to the people, even though it's not really
That's why
giving
you
back to
never
the
say
people.
yes.
It's not
Money
giving back.
laundering.
It's not giving.
But yeah.
Before it even gets to money laundering, it's just buying people, basically. You know, if you think about it, it's just you have nothing else to do with your billions of dollars.
Exactly.
That now what you're looking for is just buying the goodness of people by giving them, and you feel like you're a
Yes,
sense
it's
of
about how
fulfillment
it makes
Sounds
you
like
and
a
achieve
politician.
your
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah.
You know, and yet it's just. It's what you do basically.
But so
You know, so that you have a
let's
different
give a
sense of
purpose,
life
right?
fulfillment.
Huh? Get you a purpose na yun.
Money laundering.
No. So because we were linking everything to talent, right? It doesn't take talent to say, I've got $1 million and I want to start an orphanage. You get talent. You know what I mean, right? I want to start an orphanage, or I want to build wells.
Why is it not a talent? Starting an orphanage. Why is it not a talent? Because to put it together, it's not like you're just gonna wake up today and put it together. You know? But think about it. You're not just gonna wake up today and say, I'm now running an orphanage, you know, people. You have to put certain things in place. You know? Running an orphanage, Kanji, you are running it successfully. Yeah? There are many orphanages that have failed to run. You are managing it.
Fine. We won't come to a conclusion about this whole career and
No, I think we're just batting around now.
because no, it is, and I don't even think What about Fiatron that know we'll probably need an expert in this field to
Yes,
try?
I know.
Is there an expert in
I
there?
know, they're there.
They're there.
Oh, are they? Motivational speakers.
I can call them.
He's
I'm a life
happy.
expert. Say, why you know this guy is Mr. Chanchaniko. He's an expert on life. I'm a briefcase. What do you need about life? Should I make the call? You see the person.
Make the call.
Okay, but how bad is your life if you need a life coach? Like you can't navigate it on your own. I'm not knocking down anyone's hustle. I like how
That's to know.
like you need another person to give an opinion about your life. Like, I'm not saying you can't get advice from people, but
I think it's just like it's a maybe in my opinion a poor rebrand of a counselor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll take it as that.
Maybe they're supposed to be counselors, but then you say, "Oh, I'm a life coach," but you're not. Like it's maybe it's just support. I'm just
life coach.
maybe it's a
No,
poor
that's a
rebrand.
great
My
assumption.
problems
Yeah,
get
no,
me
no,
up
I mean-
in the morning. My problems are my life coach right now. I get up in the morning.
That is your
Sure.
training coach.
Yeah, like a life coach. Yeah, how are you a life coach? You
I
need
think-
to worry something
But
that's
I
an
think
life.
Yeah, like-
a part two is
But I
needed
guess
to
this is
get an
why
expert.
it's difficult
But
to
no, this is
be a
what was said.
motivational speaker.
One more naga.
Why?
Why?
Because you cannot be a motivational speaker if that is all you do.
Word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah?
You have to do
Yeah.
other
You
things.
have to talk about the many things that you have done and achieved in your life in order to compound enough lessons that you can actually
motivate.
give people.
Yes.
If all you have experience is just being a motivational speaker,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? You know, how are you motivated? Because you see, motivation itself, I should be able to look at you and say, yeah, I'm motivated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because out of the many things that you've done, I've found one thing that I'm also equally doing right now, and you did it this way, that way. Ah, okay. And we can even have a conversation on the side.
Exactly.
You know, to say, I'm trying to start this business that you said you did, 5 years ago, and it worked out perfectly well, and you sold it in Chanchaniko. How do I? And then it gives you actual practical, knowledge and examples of how you can run it. That's an internal
Film theory.
Not just all you do is just talking to people.
Well,
You can't be a life coach. There's no way you can be a life coach.
Yeah.
Because if you're a life coach, Muntu, you have to be a living example of perfection.
Give me an example.
Yeah, living example of perfection.
I have a friend.
Living example of perfection.
I think, and that's the thing, like you said, that's why it's difficult until this what a life coach is defined. You know what I mean? Then it's even easier to then you start striking out and saying, okay, you definitely are not a life coach. You know what I mean, right?
So
but as far as the broad definition is
this
concerned, I'll have to agree.
What's his name? Is
I know you. Yeah.
No, don't go there. You catch a case.
your surname? My
You catch a
surname.
case.
There are
Your
two.
surname.
There are two.
You catch a case.
What does that person do besides
Who first?
motivational?
The one that shares the same name with
Oh,
them.
no, don't say it.
Oh, I think oh my God.
Relax.
Nico.
Don't do that.